Hi friends, it's Miss Marianne. You might be wondering why I'm wearing these safety glasses. Well, today for our STEAM activity, we are going to combine art and science and technology. And our technology is going to be a tool, a hammer. And we might even smash something, so stay tuned for that. But first, we are going to read one of my favorite books about art, and it is called Ish. And ish just means that something looks sort of like something, but not exactly. It might be a little blurry, it might be a little bit different than how you see it, but it's the way the artist sees it. Ramon loved to draw. Anytime, anything, anywhere. Oh, where is he? Ah. One day, Ramon was drawing a vase of flowers. His brother Leon leaned over his shoulder. Leon burst out laughing. "What is that?" he asked. Ramon could not even answer. He just crumpled up the drawing and threw it across the room. Leon's laughter haunted Ramon. He kept trying to make his drawings look right, but they never did. After many months and many crumpled sheets of paper, Ramon put his pencil down. "I'm done." Marisol, his sister, was watching him. "What do you want?" he snapped. "I was watching you draw," she said. Ramon sneered. "I'm not drawing. Go away." Marisol ran away, but not before picking up a crumpled sheet of paper. "Hey, come back here with that." Ramon raced after Marisol, up the hall and down to her room. He was about to yell, but fell silent when he saw his sister's walls. He stared at the crumpled gallery. "This is one of my favorites," Marisol said, pointing. "That was supposed to be a vase of flowers," Ramon said, "but it doesn't look like one." "Well, it looks vase-ish," she exclaimed. Vase-ish? Ramon looked closer. Then he studied all the drawings on Marisol's walls and began to see them in a whole new way. "They do look ish," he said. Ramon felt light and energized. Thinking ishly allowed his ideas to flow freely. He began to draw what he felt. Loose lines quickly springing out without worry. Ramon once again drew and drew the world around him. Making an ish drawing felt wonderful. He filled his journals. Tree-ish, house-ish, boat-ish, afternoon-ish, fish-ish, sun-ish. Ramon realized he could draw ish feelings, too. Peace-ish, silly-ish, excited-ish. This ish art inspired ish writing. He wasn't sure if he was writing poems, but he knew they were poem-ish. One spring morning, Ramon had a wonderful feeling. It was a feeling that even ish words and ish drawings could not capture. He decided not to capture it. Instead, he simply savored it. And Ramon lived ishfully ever after. Now, there was another artist named Claude Monet. He was one of my favorite artists ever. And he was one of the very first ish artists because when he painted things, they didn't look like what everybody else thought they should look like. So, for example, if he painted water, it might look like this. And people, just like Ramon's brother Leon, did not like Claude's art. And they would say things like, "I hate these paintings. I'd like to throw them all out the window. This is just a bunch of trees. This painting doesn't even look finished. I can't even tell what it is." There are all the people saying very unkind things about Claude's artwork. But Claude Monet did not let it stop him from creating art, and we're not going to let it stop us either. So we are going to create our own Ish masterpiece. So to make our artwork inspired by Ish and Claude Monet, what we're going to need is a pan with a little bit of water in the bottom, just enough to cover the bottom, a piece of paper that will fit in our pan, and sidewalk chalk. I'm going to remove my pan of water for a second. Now, we are not going to use sidewalk chalk in the way that we normally do, where we just draw with it. We need to make something called shavings, and in order to do that, there's a couple different ways. One is you can take your piece of chalk like this, I've already started, and a popsicle stick or a craft stick. You can also use an old gift card if you have one, a plastic knife if mom and dad say that's okay, and you just scrape the shavings off, okay? Now, I've already done a bunch, and I ended up with something that looks like this because I did a bunch of different colors. But if we wanted to do it a different way, where we were using our safety goggles and our hammer, what you would do is put a piece of chalk, and one that's broken, into a Ziploc bag, and you would take your hammer if mom and dad say it's okay, and if they're there to supervise you, because we have to always be careful, you would just pound it and pound it and pound it. I'm not going to do that because it's really loud, but I did it earlier today, and what I ended up with was shavings that look like this. So there's a bunch of different ways you can do it. Then, when we have our shavings, we need to take our pan of water, and we want our shavings to float on top of the water. Now, do you think if we put a piece of chalk in the water that it would float or sink? What's your prediction? I'll give you a second so you can say what you think. All right, I'm going to try it, and let's see what happens. Whoop, can you all see? It sank, but we don't want our shavings to sink because we want them to float on the top of the water so that they will get absorbed into our piece of paper. So what we have to do is very gently, we take our shavings that we have saved and we gently sprinkle them on to our water. Like that. I have a lot of them in here. And they are all floating on the top. And then before they can sink, we take our piece of paper and we just put it gently right on top. We don't have to push it down or submerge it or make the paper sink either, okay? We want the paper to float sort of on top. We can push it down a little bit just so that they're touching the shavings gently. Leave it there for a few seconds, and then we're gonna take it and take one corner and peel it off, and look what happened. Now, I'm gonna just put it down to dry, and while it dries, you can observe a couple other scientific things. The water will evaporate, and the color should get absorbed into our beautiful masterpiece. I'm not sure what I think this looks like yet. I'll look at it again when it dries. Also, when yours is done, if you want, you could use a crayon or a marker and add more details. If you think this looks like a garden maybe, then you could add some other flowers if you wanted, or you can just leave it as is, okay? And I like our Ish art a lot. And I will see you again soon with more STEAM videos.